What's going on, world? This is D100 TV, one-stop shop for prison content. My name is Chris, and I did do 17 years in the Commonwealth of Virginia, originally being sentenced to 144. And today, I'm telling some prison stories, or at least one of the many that I have. I want to say this disclaimer. I don't agree with everything that I narrate, everything that I've seen in prison, everything that I've seen in life, but you see what you see. You know, you witness what you witness. And hopefully the goal is through these stories, you learn something and you say to yourself, you know what? I probably don't want to go there. In this particular story, this was early on in my bid. I was at Sussex 2 State Prison. A lot of savagery. It was extremely violent at the time. I remember, what year was it? In 2005, by a brother by the name of Brother Anthony lost his life 2 days before he was supposed to go home. Another story I'll be telling up here. But many things happened. But this one particular situation kind of revolves around something different. In prison, just like in the real world, there are predators. And it's kind of weird. When you look inside of a prison pod, it's almost like a fish tank. It's almost like you're watching fish go swim in circles. It's not uncommon to see guys walking laps in the pod and having conversations, etc. And a lot of times, some of the times, it's predators. They're scoping their prey. Sometimes it'll be somebody scoping somebody they might want to rob. It might be somebody scoping somebody they beefing with. Sometimes it's somebody scoping somebody they might want to be with. This particular time on the institution I was at, there were plenty of lifers, individuals that were never going home. And I'm not saying that this is the case for all the lifers. I'm just saying this guy in particular was serving a life sentence. He had already been down for about 20 years, to be exact. He was known for pimping in the penitentiary. He was known for having relations with homosexuals and then basically bartering them or trading with them for services and money and whatever else. Again, this happens in prison. Anything that happens on the outside of those fences happens on the inside of the fences. It is a reflection of society. At this time, a young dude came in the block. And I remember I used to always sit on my box in the corner of the pod with my back against the wall and just watch, observe, because I didn't really know anybody. And it's normal when the door pops or when the pod door slides open, etc. You look because you're looking for a face that might be familiar, somebody you know, etc. Some form of ally, because Lord knows, man, it's always going down, especially in prison, especially on Sussex too. So, boom, door opens. Look, see a young dude, don't know him. He's standing in front of the pod, the officer or whatever, waiting to get his cell assignment. The old head, sure enough, that's known for pimping and pandering, dealing with what he deals with, pulls up on youngin. Can't see what they're talking about, but all of a sudden you can tell that old head must have told a joke because the young boy started to laugh and just chuckle and have a good time. Over the next couple of days, they began to walk laps together, have conversations, sit down at the table, etc. And me and a couple of other young dudes that were observing and some old heads said, man, here we go. Sure enough, over time, one thing led to another. The old head ended up moving into the cell with the young guy. Around this time, it was a big, a big momentous day where all of a sudden we were granted the privilege. Look at this. Seriously, think about this. We were granted the privilege to put pictures of our family and loved ones on our walls in the cell. This was a big thing. So people began to put the pictures of their loved ones up. And the old head, as the young dude was putting his pictures up, said, hey, I know that lady. And the young dude says, hey, that's my mom, man. Y'all might know each other. The old head was excited. He had been incarcerated for over 20 years. And here's this dude that he was in a relationship with, finds out that he knew his mother. In fact, as the story would be revealed, he once dated his mother. Weird circumstance. Hopefully you can read between the lines. So here's this weird situation. Again, to each his own. It's two consenting adults. One young dude, one older guy. They were in a relationship. Young guy eventually gets on the phone one day. He calls home to his mother. And he says, Mom, I'm in the cell with such and such. He wants to talk to you. And his mom says, sure, no problem. Well, now the old head's excited because the young dude, his cellie and more, calls him over to get on the phone. When he gets on the phone, he gets the shock of his life. You know, he goes from smiling to screaming. Now, we're in the pod at the time. I'm playing poker. I turn, I see a dude screaming because I don't know if somebody's getting, fought, stabbed, whatever. But he slams the phone, walks off. He goes in the cell, puts the cut up. And anybody that doesn't know, a cut is basically when you block the window that's in your cell door so you can have privacy. Usually the guards don't have too much of a problem with that because guys need to use it for the restroom, etc., prayer, whatever. So he goes in there. The young dude's confused. At this time, he can't get back on the phone to call his mother back because his time has expired in the phone line. Anybody that's been to prison knows that the phone lines in some of these institutions and prisons are horrible. And if you overstep the boundaries, call one too many times, it could lead to violent consequences. He wasn't built for that type of smoke, so he didn't get back on the phone that day. But eventually, the old head let the cut down, door slid open, because it was locked down. Youngin went into the cell. We heard some yelling. We heard some commotion. As you would. You hear things. The entire pod is concrete and steel, so voice echoes. And there was a lot of speculation, man. I remember guys like, what the heck? And it's not that we were entertained by these two dudes. It's just that when you are locked up, you in prison, there's nothing else going on. So when something out the ordinary happens, it's going to have your attention, whether you're in that lane or not. The next day, the very next day, the old head had basically rolled his mat up or checked in, as they say. And he said he needed to get out of the cell with the youngin. Youngin stayed in the block, began telling people what had happened, which I still don't understand to this day, but maybe later on I did because youngin ended up basically losing his mind, which is another story on another institution. But the man that he had got into a relationship with was his father. And when the old head got on the phone with his mother, the mother said, hey, I had been looking for you, but I could not find you. I didn't know where you were. I knew you by your street name. How was I supposed to find? I thought you were dead. And here I am. My son says he met an older dude that's helping him. And what's going on, man? That's your son. That's crazy. But it's sick and it's savage, and that's what penitentiary is, man. Dude was sleeping with his own son. It is what it is, man. D100 TV, more prison stories coming soon. Yeah. Podcast coming up at 1:30. And Thursday, every evening at 6 p.m. Make sure you tune in. Lock in. If you're not already following the channel, subscribe. Everything's live, no edits. Let me get something to drink. Coffee. Real content. We do the podcast. We do reactions. You see a lot of the short stuff that started on TikTok. Shout out to the TikTok universe where it all started. And yeah, we trying to just extend the conversation about penitentiary, mental health, everything else, man. That's what we getting into. Lock in, subscribe. Again, real stories, real content by real people, man. D100 TV. Till next time, peace.